This is Vigilant Liberty Radio News from Independent Journal Review for January 22nd. To address the issue of cyberbullying, the state of Illinois passed a law last year giving schools the right to demand social media account passwords from students from kindergarten through college. The law went into effect January 1st, and schools were required to notify students and parents of the new policy. Several schools fulfilled this requirement with a letter sent home that explains the law and defines social networking. The letter emphasizes email passwords are not included in the law. Parents and students reacted strongly, with one parent saying it is not acceptable to hand over passwords and personal information to the school. Previous Illinois law allowed schools to demand passwords if a school code violation like cyberbullying took place during school hours. The new law allows this demand to be made of students and parents regardless of when or where the violation took place. The FBI and Justice Department have completed their investigation of the actions of Ferguson, Missouri police officer Darren Wilson and are recommending the officer not be indicted on federal civil rights charges. Wilson shot Michael Brown in August of 2014 and was not indicted by a Ferguson grand jury late last year. Neither the FBI nor the Justice Department found evidence that was not already revealed in state and local investigations. While Wilson has been cleared of any wrongdoing, he has resigned from the force, and the federal government is still investigating the Ferguson Police Department. The FDA has finalized an Obamacare mandated rule requiring restaurants display calorie information on their menus. There, however, appears to be confusion over what the FDA defines as a menu. Lynn Liddell, Executive Vice President for Domino's Pizza, said the rule is unworkable in its current form. Liddell notes the rule broadly defines what a menu is and can refer to any writing used by a customer to make an order selection at the time the customer is viewing the writing. This could mean flyers, newspapers, or signs in windows could be classified as menus. Pizza makers are also trying to figure out how they will display the vast number of calorie combinations on their materials. Domino's Pizza has a potential 34 million ingredient combinations, and its competitor Pizza Hut has 2 billion possible ingredient combinations. Meanwhile, limited studies show similar rules enacted in Pennsylvania and New York appear to be ineffective when it comes to changing consumer ordering habits. The rule goes into effect in December of this year, and the FDA says it will issue guidelines on compliance before then. And a Florida man was arrested Tuesday after he tackled and restrained another man who was illegally carrying a concealed weapon in a Florida Walmart store. 62-year-old Clarence Daniels had just walked into a Walmart when he was tackled by Michael Foster. Surveillance video shows Foster restraining Daniels with the help of other customers who take away Daniels' holstered firearm while Foster calls 911. Foster was arrested when police arrived, and it was revealed Daniels had a concealed carry permit, something he yelled out while he was being restrained. Foster is being charged with 1 count of battery. This is Amy Curtis with your Vigilant Liberty Radio News from Independent Journal Review for January 22nd.
Welcome to the second hour. Boy, that first hour went fast. Of The Right Mics with Mike Miller and Michael Hausum. 412-567-6879 if you wish to weigh in. And as I've said in the past, that can be to agree with us or to tell us we're full of crap. It makes no difference. If you tell us we're full of crap, by the way, you got to bring some facts and logic and reason. You also follow us on Twitter at The Right Mics. And check out our website. If you're listening on Spreaker, you can also listen on therightmics.us or vice versa. So, Hausum, that went pretty quickly, dude.
Yeah, good stuff.
All right. So, gosh, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Let's, what else here do I want to? The White House. We got to, this is somewhat State of the Union related, but it's, I think I sent you this link where this unidentified White House aide speaking to Daily Mail Online, says party loyalty for Obama now pretty much out the window. He doesn't put much weight in that anymore. Did you see that?
Yes, I did, and I think yeah. What's the deal with that? Because that's very interesting.
It is incredibly interesting. And so this aide, again, who is nameless, tells Daily Mail Online that president is in his last 2 years and party loyalty isn't worth what it used to be. He's going to steamroll them. And the them to which he refers are Democrats. Democrats who oppose Obama's proposals and his positions. So Obama is going to take no prisoners over the next 2 years. I mean, listen, you and I talked about that right after the midterms. In fact, before the midterms, as it relates to his treatment of Republicans, because he's done that anyway. But dude, I mean, in the crosshairs right now, and I put a couple of examples in the post. I put this up on IJR this morning, but he is just, like I said, going to take no prisoners. He's going to do what he's going to do, and, to hell with everyone else.
Yeah, you know what? It's interesting, man. As the effective head of a party, to say, what is this? What was the phrase you just said? To hell with everyone else?
Right.
That is not a way to win friends and influence people in your own party. You know what I mean?
Well, exactly. And not only is the arrogance, well, of course, it doesn't surprise us or probably our listeners, but the arrogance is over the top with this thing. He's all about him. Like we said before, he's always the smartest guy in the room, and anybody gets in his way is obviously wrong. But when you compare and contrast that with, I mean, he even said in the State of the Union, what I completely paraphrase here because I don't remember the quotes. I did my best just to watch, period. But he wants to get together and say yes with the Republicans and everyone else. And of course, he said this in the past. But then a record number of times in the State of the Union address, he mentioned vetoes, threats. That has, again, record. That's never happened to that extent before. Of course, the beginning of last year, before anything was even discussed with Congress, I've got a pen and I've got a phone. End of December, I haven't used veto that much in the past, but I suspect I'm going to be using it a lot more now. And then for this aide to come out, listen, even if he plans to do it, okay, even if he plans to do it to Democrats, because he has nothing to lose, right? He's not going to run for anything again. He could give a damn about anybody. But why does the aide have to come out and actually say it and then use the term steamroll the Democrats? To me, it's just, again, I don't get it.
It is establishing boundaries. And, what's funny is that it turns out that maybe these are the only red lines that Obama will draw that he'll actually put some teeth behind.
That's the best thing you've said all day because dude, that's good. You're exactly right.
Yeah, internationally killing Americans, this and that, or just wantonly destroying international peace and tranquility hopes. Those kinds of red lines are amorphous and fuzzy. But cross him politically here domestically within the confines of the United States, those red lines are clearly drawn and monitored. I mean, those are the only borders that he'll actually defend. Let's put it that way.
Dude, that's perfect, and it because it's all about him, and it's he could listen, he could give a damn about the way he's viewed in the world politically. I mean, I really do believe that. But when it comes down to those who cross him, particularly in his own party, right? I mean, Republicans used to this. He's done this since the beginning of his first term. But now he's got the Democrats in his crosshairs. One of those is Democratic Senator from New Jersey, Bob Menendez, who has spoken out vehemently, if you will, against, Obama's unilateral normalization of relations with Cuba. As is Marco Rubio and others. But again, Menendez, a Democrat, wrote a scathing letter to Kerry I'm sure he's one of the folks that stands in the way of the steamroller.
Absolutely. Again, that is a border that he is going to vigorously defend, man.
Yeah, it's just unbelievable. And then another one, and I put this in the post. Joe Manchin, remember that guy? I mean, he's kind of well, you know what? He's been rumored, although not recently, to now that 2014 midterms played out, to be possibly thinking about switching parties. I doubt that will happen, but he ridiculed Obama.
He absolutely did.
Raked him
Right.
across the coals. We don't do that in West Virginia. He's talking about the veto threat and everything, and he literally ridiculed him. So this guy's dude. I'm telling you, this guy can be vicious.
Vicious, no question about it. Hey, speaking of, you know what, Jess, I'm going to send you this clip. If you could pull this up, I don't know how long it is, but it'd be interesting to hear it. Speaking of presidential things, did you see what Huckabee's comments were yesterday?
I did not.
All right. Just have you ever watched Huckabee's show? While Jessica's pulling up this clip.
I've watched probably almost every one of them. Yeah.
Really? Do you like him?
I like Fox News, and Huckabee is not someone that will ever be president. You know, you and I have said this before. All these people need to do before they waste people's time, their own time, donators' time and money, they need to come to talk to us and say, do I have a chance? And then you and I just pass judgment, and then they could save themselves lots of efforts. But so
we
so
need to
yeah,
make some money on that. If we're going to have that kind of,
there would be a large fee for that, wouldn't there?
To render our opinion on the idiocy of, for example, Rick Santorum's potential
Rick Perry, same thing.
Sancho Panza run.
I mean, think how much time we could have saved Ron Paul and his supporters. So, but anyway, yeah, I think Huckabee is obviously a man of faith. I think he's a man of character and values, and down the line. But dude is never going to be president. But anyway, go ahead.
Well, you know what? Rather than explain it, this was on Fox News. Jess, go ahead and play the clip.
Are you going to run for president and bring that? No, but seriously, I mean, you have a conviction and a belief that that's part of what's missing. You can bring it, obviously. Are you going to bring that to the presidential contest?
Well, I'll put it this way. I left the show that I had for 6.5 years on the Fox News network, and if I don't end up running for president, I've got to be the dumbest man alive to leave that good of a gig to not run. So
that was a yes.
Moving in that direction, but no announcement immediately.
Okay.
Do you have to ask your wife and family, do you have a conversation and sit down and go, honey, kids, I'm thinking about doing it again?
Absolutely. I mean, I think a person,
vote in whether or not you do
they
it?
really do.
Yeah.
And my wife, believe it or not, she wanted me to run in 2012. And I told her I didn't think the time was right. I did not think that it was going to be as easy as a lot of Republicans thought to defeat a very popular incumbent president.
Right.
And I thought for a whole lot of reasons. And after the election, all the things that I told her were the reasons that I didn't think it was a good thing to do. They all came true. And at the end, she gave me something that I've cherished. She gave me 3 words. You were right. And
Now, don't get used to that if you want to be president.
40 and a half years.
Thing that he believes or proposes, with which I don't agree. I just don't think it's ever going to happen for him.
No, absolutely. By the way, that was on The View. That was not on Fox News that conversation happened.
Right.
You know, it's funny. Remember we had those guys on for the fair tax movie? Gosh, what was that, November, something like that?
Mm-hmm.
Huckabee was really involved in that. I mean, Huckabee is totally on board with the whole fair tax thing. And I don't know if you ended up seeing that movie, but I saw it, and I just think there's a significant aspect to what Huckabee's about that's a very religious right type perspective. And I can't get on board with that. Not even because of the theology part, just because of the putting together of religion and politics, I have a problem.